Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing climate change, abrupt climate change, and things adjacent. Pardon my French. Anyways, just feeling a little silly, guys. Maybe it's the coffee. Um, anyways, this is from a few days ago, August 15th, actually, about 2 weeks ago. But many people have been talking about this, and I believe Paul Beckwith was talking about this. Earth stopped getting greener 20 years ago. Declining plant growth is linked to decreasing air moisture tied to global warming. The world is gradually becoming less green, scientists have found. Plant growth is declining all over the planet, and new research links the phenomenon to decreasing moisture in the air, a consequence of climate change. A study published yesterday in Science Advances. So I actually have to just interject climate change science is fairly complex. And we know that it causes like torrential flooding and rains in some places and drought in other places, or even the same in the same places, right? India suffers, either drought or extreme rain. So there's no like kind of mild middle ground. So it's interesting too when I read articles from studies that say like there's less moisture in the air, but actually, because of the evaporation of the ocean, we get more moisture in the air. That part actually is a little bit confusing to me. Maybe this article will help spell it out as I read, but I always kind of pause when I read stuff like that and go, is it more moisture in the air? Is there more water vapor in the air, or is there less? Is it at different levels? Is there more water vapor up in the upper atmosphere and less in the lower, or, because I'm not a scientist. I'm just a layman communicating some science, but I always kind of get caught up on that personally. So anyways, the study published yesterday in Science Advances points to satellite observations that revealed expanding vegetation worldwide during much of the 1980s and 1990s. But then about 20 years ago, so fairly recently, the trend stopped. Since then, more than half of the world's vegetated landscapes have been experiencing a browning trend or decrease in plant growth, according to the authors. Climate records suggest the declines are associated with a metric known as vapor pressure deficit. Let's read on. That's the difference between the amount of moisture the air actually holds versus the maximum amount of moisture it could be holding. A high deficit is sometimes referred to as an atmospheric drought. Since the late 1990s, more than half of the world's vegetated landscapes have experienced a growing deficit or drying pattern. Climate models indicate that vapor pressure deficit is likely to continue increasing as the world warms, a pattern that might have a substantially negative impact on vegetation. It's not the first study to document the global decline in vegetation. A 2010 study in Science was among the first to demonstrate that the greening increases of the 1990s had stalled or reversed. The study also suggested that the declines were probably water-related. That's not to say that every last corner of the Earth is losing its vegetation. Some recent studies have revealed that parts of the Arctic are greening, of course, because there's less ice and snow and cold. As the chilly landscape warms and there's increasing plant growth still happening in other regions of the world as well, but on a global scale, averaged across the entire planet, the trend is pointing downward. Declines challenge an argument often presented by skeptics of mainstream climate science to downplay the consequences of global warming, the idea that plants will grow faster with larger amounts of carbon dioxide. So this is tied into something I read a few weeks ago. CO2 is only plant food up to a point, just like oxygen is only good for you up to a point, or anything else for that matter. It's about the balance. It's not about the overall volume of something being inherently good. More is better. More. But that's a very American attitude to take, right? That's something a climate denier. More CO2. How could it possibly be bad? More gasoline, more cars, more everything, more hamburgers in my belly. How can that be bad? Yeah. More horsepower, bro. As climate change affects plant growth, declining plant growth may also affect the pace of climate change. Reinforcing feedback loop. Atmospheric pressure, moisture like carbon dioxide is just one factor among many that may affect the world's vegetation in coming years. Well, regardless of the reasons or the causes, I can just look with my eyes at the vegetation around where I live and notice that it's getting browner. We're losing trees, we're losing shrubs, we're losing entire skylines filled with trees are now gone that used to be there in my youth. So it's pretty dramatic. Just in Los Angeles, and other people have reported the same thing globally. Moving on, Travis, I think sent this to me. Cory Booker wants to pay many more farmers to practice carbon farming. Climate Stewardship Act, which Booker plans to propose in September. So Cory Booker is in the presidential race as well. Probably not going to do much because he is paid by pharmaceutical companies, and he's in the pocket of a lot of corporations, but has some good ideas occasionally. I think something like this is already covered in Bernie Sanders' climate plan, because part of his plan talks about regenerating small farms and organic farming. And that being said, let's move on to this ridiculous article trying to take down Bernie Sanders' climate plan. So there's already been apparently this is from Mother Jones, but I just saw on Twitter today that, there were like four articles written slamming Bernie Sanders' climate plan, in like the Washington Post in the last like day or two. So they're working overtime. The gears are, they've cranked it up. The presses, we got to get this negativity out here, folks. We got to bring it down because, it's Bernie Sanders. So this guy is hilarious. Kevin Drum, political blogger. This guy is a neoliberal sellout whore. Bernie Sanders released his climate change plan today, and Bernie being Bernie, it was naturally the biggest, leftiest, most socialist plan out there. And that was the good part. The bad part is that it's practically designed to fail. It's going to fail. It's just not going to work. So whatever Bernie says or proposes, it's going to fail because there's no money. We can't afford it. And he's not going to win anyways because Trump hates socialists and he's going to call him a socialist and everybody's going to go, oh, no, Bernie Sanders is so. And then they'll vote for Trump because Bernie is a communist. I mean a socialist. He's fucking just insane, stupid people. But they're really just trying to brainwash people, and they're kind of doing a good job of it because some people actually believe this shit. If you're going to propose a massive $16 trillion plan, the first thing you should do is get as many people on board as possible. Instead, Sanders practically revels in pissing off as many stakeholders as possible. So don't piss off the corporate masters. That's what he's trying to say. He's going to tax the rich. Oh my God. Why would you ever do such a thing? That is just insanity. You have to love the rich. You have to get them into your circle and love and propose. And can I have some help? Please, may I have some more? May I have some more, sir? Another bowl of gruel from my rich masters? He's going to hobble the fossil fuel industry. He's going to ban nuclear power. He's going to nationalize electric generation and turn it over to the federal government. Yes, that's what you should be doing, but But this is just the terrible news for neoliberals, for those who are really into late stage capitalism. And then there are absurd promises he's going to create 20 million new union jobs. No, he's not. Unless he creates 20 million new human beings. He's going to eliminate fossil fuels by 2030 at the latest. I don't think even the most optimistic environmentalists think we can build out solar and wind that fast. Electricity will be virtually free by 2035. Oh, please. So this guy is just, a big wet blanket because, jobs, because economy. And they're spending $2 trillion to weatherize homes, another $2 trillion to allow people to trade in their old gas burners for electric vehicles. I mean, golly, Bernie. I mean, all these, we just stop with the fucking ideas, dude. Just stop with the ideas. This is just dumb. Whatever you say is just dumb, Bernie. It's just dumb. That's what this idiot is basically doing. He's just like a fucking 5-year-old. I don't want to hear it. But at least Sanders will also dedicate huge amounts of R&D, right? He says right at the top that it'll make massive investments in new research. But down in the details, R&D appears to get $800 billion. Only $800 billion. Only a little more than he'd spent on school buses. Because he's just lying. He's a liar. This is a wild mismatch. Sanders appears to be more interested in creating a huge federal jobs program than he is in seriously taking on climate change. Oh, really? Okay. Sanders' plan looks to me... Wait, hold on. This is the whole article. is like just 6 paragraphs of smear. No, it can't possibly work because Bernie's just a dumbass. And then, how could you possibly believe this malarkey? That's all this is. There's nothing about this. There's no citing other sources. There's no citing other information. He's just saying it just can't work. Trust me. I'm a political blogger. My name's whatever the hell my name is. Kevin Drum. I drum up shit just randomly. That's how I write. I just drum shit up. Should be your tagline. Drumming shit up every day, Kevin Drum. Sanders' plan looks to me like the worst kind of kitchen sink proposal. Because it covers so much. I mean, it's so comprehensive. How could you possibly have something so comprehensive? It's just everything. Anyways, I'm going to stop this video because I'm going to just start ranting and whatever. Call me cranky, but I'm tired of this stuff. It's a box checking exercise designed to appeal to every possible lefty constituency. Because I'm a right. Are you a conservative? What are you? What are you? Writing for Mother Jones. Are you a right winger? Are you a Trump supporter? Because you sound like a Trump supporter guy. That's what you sound like, Kevin Drum. Postscript, it's probably worth noting that I haven't looked at the climate plans from other candidates, so I'm not comparing Sanders to anyone else. For all I know, all the other plans are just as bad. This guy right here, go away. Just go away, dude. You have no business writing for Mother Jones. You're not even a blogger, dude. You're barely a Twitter poster. You're barely a Facebook blogger. Anyways, that's all I have for you in this video. That was good fun. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.